Strap in.
Straight Talk with Matt Hasley. Every Monday and Friday, 9 p.m. Central Time. Only on Armed Radio Global.
February, I'm about ready to say June, can you believe it? February 17th, 70 degrees in Iowa. No way. Gotta love that global warming. California getting pummeled with rain. East Coast getting pummeled with snow. What's going on? Midwest. Ronnie, welcome to the show. American Got Talent, Ronnie Balala, welcome to the show. Glad to see you on Facebook Live. Special thanks to our sponsors out there, E24.com. If you ate yet, we'll log on to E24.com, download that app for your favorite mobile device. Click, order, and eat. It's like a food truck in your pants. Really, it's just that easy. Also, HotSauceVault.com. Check out Louie. He's got Hottest of the Hot, Wimpy for the Wimp. You name it, he's got it. He's got gag guests for everybody. Log on to HotSauceVault.com. He's got it. Tons of stuff going on in the news. We got that Oroville Dam. Apparently, they've been doing a lot of work on it to try to combat it from failing. And hopefully, they're going to be able to do and withstand this next storm they got coming. I mean, it looks like it's going to be overwhelming. It looked like up to a foot of rain or whatever. I'm like, if I don't recall, they were praying for rain out in California. And now they're just, I don't know, whoever did the praying, they did a good job because now they got too much. And that's the problem, is you get too much of a good thing. Now they're not looking at having a drought. I mean, the one benefit of all the rain is, I guess you don't have all the wildfires and things that you see. Every year you see that. But I'm hoping that dam can hold up because I just can't think of the economic and just the lives that would be impacted by that, the whole dam failing and the ecosystems and everything, that has been built around that. What would happen if that dam failed? Gail, welcome to the show. Paula, welcome to the show. You think about that dam failing like that. What would the reaction or how long it would take for them to do is recover from something like that? I know that in Louisiana when they had Hurricane Katrina and the levee systems failed around there. But I can't imagine, it didn't just wash out towns. You could just imagine that much water for a dam to give way like that, and you're at the whim of living at the bottom of this thing. I don't know if I've ever been to one of those. We went to, way back, I went to Hoover Dam years ago and toured that, and that's pretty impressive. The guy told us, we're at the bottom. I'm not a real big fan. I'm claustrophobic anyway, and we take the elevator down, and we get out of the elevator and walk out, and I'm in a cave, and I'm like, holy crap! I don't like to go, spelunking or whatever you want to call it, or whatever you go cave, go into caves at all. They had a guy here he went in the caves and got lost and had to wait until morning before he was able to get out. I just could not imagine it. I went and I dropped my son off. He was at Boy Scout camp or whatever, and I went up there, and one of the Boy Scout leaders was with him, and he was like all covered in dirt. I said, what the heck have you been in? And he's always been crawling through the caves. Sometimes you got to crawl on your belly to get through. I'm like, oh, that's all. I don't want to hear anymore. So you go on the dam tour, of course. And we go in this cave, and all I can think of is like in Vegas Vacation, where you touch the rock, and all of a sudden the water starts spewing out and everything, and you're like, oh, wait, this is not good. Well, you go to the bottom of the dam and you look up. I don't know if you ever watched Transformers and the little transformer falls off, but I've been on the top and I've been on the bottom of that dam, and just imagine the amount of time it took them to build that. And Oroville Dam in California is, I think, the second largest dam in the United States, or maybe in the world. I don't know. It's just humongous. So I just really feel for those people in California if this thing fails. I mean, it just, I just don't know what would happen. It says, hi, Matt, Hollywood, we got rain all right, and it's America's Got Talent, Ronnie B. Yep, hi, Ronnie B. I give you the thumbs up. Yeah, it's, by looking at it, I was looking at the weather radar map for California, because right now they got the Genesis Open, which is the Riviera Country Club, which the PGA Tour is at the stop right now, and they're just getting pummeled with rain. They actually shortened the second round, delayed it, and they're going to do is finish up hopefully Saturday, and they think that they possibly might get the tournament all the way in on Sunday. That would be nice. They have currently right now in the lead is Jonathan Vegas. He's 7 under, tied with Sam Saunders, who are both yet to finish their second round. You got Jason Kotrock. He's still in the middle of his second round at 6 under. You got Jordan Spieth and Cameron Percy both at 5 under. Cameron did finish his second round. Jordan is still in his... I think he's still on the... says 16th hole, so he must have started on the back 9. So he still has like 9 holes left to go. You got Ben Crane, John Huh, and Dustin Johnson and JT Poston all at 5 under. Still waiting to finish their second round. There's not many players that finish their second round. So it's going to be projected cut right now is even. And I mean, with a lot of players haven't even started their second round, it's going to be just a crazy day if they're able to do is, if they're able to do is finish the second round, then they got to repair it, and then try to get back out and play their third round. So it'll be a long day for them tomorrow if they get it. These tour players are so good that they'll play in the weather, rain, you name it. I mean, unless it's lightning and stuff like that, and they have standing water, they'll play. So, yeah, these guys, when you go pick, clean, and place, they're really good, and they can play in all types of weather. You got the ladies tour right now. It's actually live right now on the Golf Channel. It is the ISPS Honda Women's Australian Open, and currently Sarah Jane Smith is in the lead at 9 under. You got 3 tied at 8, and a couple tied at actually 5 of them tied at 7. One of the Americans, Allie McDonald, she's at 7 under, and Lizette Salas is 7 under. But Michelle Wee was up there. Michelle Wee is 5 under, but she's battling also back spasms, which is Tiger's been, battling the back spasms. So, yeah, in golfer, that's one of the worst things to have, because once you get them, once you start having back spasms, now you're afraid, when is it going to kick in again? Because it doesn't happen all the time. I mean, you all of a sudden just start twinging on you, and it can happen at any time. Well, if you look at the PGA Tour the way it's going right now, they're expecting 6 inches of rain on Los Angeles County beaches and valleys, and 5 to 10 inches on south-facing foothills and coastal mountain slopes, there said. So, yeah, just imagine, I mean, that's a lot of rain. A lot of these courses also, people, the higher, the elitist course. I mean, Larry, welcome to the show. My old roommate. Yeah, these courses that can afford it. You got places like Augusta and stuff like that where they call sub-air. And a lot of football stadiums are getting it too. So when they get tons of rain, what they do is they turn on the sub-air jets. How you doing, Larry? And they suck the water right out of the field. So they put them on in the greens. They call them sub-air. They suck the moisture right out of the green. That way they can do is get enormous amounts of rain and stuff like that and able to pull it away from the playing field. That happens with football fields, soccer fields, anything like that. Really, really high tech. They have heating. Some of them have sub-heating, because, if you're certain climates. Let me see. I'm reading Ronnie's comment here. It says, "Hey, now it's rain season here for sure. How are you tonight at AGT?" Yeah, doing good, Ronnie. Which is weird to say. I live in the Midwest. I live in Iowa, and it's middle of February, and I'm a golf pro by trade. And we opened the golf course yesterday in February, and we had almost 180 players today. I mean, that's just crazy to think of being open in February in the Midwest for golfing. Usually you think about if you're going to go take a golf trip, you're going to go to Florida, or you're going to go to California, you're going to go to, down into, like Alabama, the Robert Trent Jones Trail, or maybe down to Biloxi, Mississippi, but not Iowa. It was 70 degrees. We had people, the phone rang nonstop. It was a lot of people taking advantage of the great weather. And it's supposed to be all the way through next Thursday. We're supposed to be in the 60s or so all the way through next Thursday. So that is just weird and of course, don't expect this to be, this way for the rest of winter. Okay, yeah. The groundhog supposedly saw his shadow. 6 more weeks of winter. Well, apparently he didn't. He saw his shadow, and he was laying on a beach when he saw it for the Midwest. But no, everybody fighting the colds. Some places I've seen where some schools in Texas have been shut down because of flu and stuff like that, and they're like almost like spraying the whole school to try to kill the viruses and stuff from the flu. They have whole schools shut down because almost half the school's out sick, and some people. Kimberly Murray, who is on Night Talk with Joe Rocks, she said some of the kids, people in Oklahoma, have died from it. So that's scary when you start thinking of it, attacking that bad. I went to, it would be a week ago today, I went to the Express Care Clinic for ear infection. My ear was infected. And I tell you what, just to see all the sick people in there, took me in Mike Puente, welcome to the show. Nice to see you, Mike. I hear you guys are making a trip down south here shortly. I talked to Mikey today, and I assume you're going with him, but I don't know. It makes an ass out of you and me when I assume, so you never know. But you talk about, oh God, I even lost my train of thought there. But about going into the clinic. You see all these sick people in there, and you're like going, man, I can't imagine that. That's going to be an everyday occurrence. And people had masks on and all that. And some people just let their kids run wild. It was just crazy. They're letting them run all over the place. And I'm like, it's just nasty. And I spent an hour and 45 minutes waiting to get seen for an ear infection. Well, I'm almost done with my antibiotics for it. They gave me 2 doses because they said that MRSA and staph infection was high occurrence this winter. And I was like, wow, I didn't think about that. And they give me 2 different types to combat it. So, but my ear is almost completely healed up. Last week, on Friday, when I took it, my ear was sticking out like this. It was like all out to the side. So if you're watching on Facebook Live or you're watching on Ustream, you can see that my ear was just... So my wife goes, no, you need to go to the Express Care. There's something wrong there. And she's a nurse, so... kind of weird stories in the news. I don't know if you happen to see this. You're getting on the plane and you're flying and you're about ready to go and all of a sudden the pilot comes on. He says, you got the pilot all talks all cool. He does this. He goes, but apparently, American Eagle flights, and he says, American Eagle CRG 700 declared emergency and returned to Charlotte Douglas International Airport after hitting a deer while leaving the runway at 11:45. How do you tell it? If you look out your right side of your passenger, you'll notice we've just struck a 12-point buck. And we're going to have to do... It says officials said the plane had begun to leak fuel. And firefighters were called to douse the damaged wing. A deer hitting a plane. I mean, what are the odds of that? Probably come across that radio and you just hear that play. Tower, we just made contact with a deer. You're like, this guy's toasted, Well, it said FAA said the collision between the deer and the plane was the 6th at the airport since 1994. I mean, what are the odds of that? It said all passengers were evacuated and bused back to the terminal with no injuries. But imagine hitting a deer. Well, we had one of the young ladies who worked, she drove the beer cart. And this is years ago. She worked for me last year. And I shouldn't say young lady because she's married with kids now and everything, but she comes into the shop. She says, "You're not going to believe this." I said, "What?" She goes, "I hit a deer with the beer cart." And I'm like, "What?" Apparently, the deer was running down or across the fairway looking at other people, and we're not paying attention to her, and ran right into the side of her beer cart and down, fell on the ground, kind of looked at her, got up and ran away. I'm like, okay, what have you been drinking? Well, she had a cart full of it. So, you don't normally hear about, I hear about cars. I've seen a few get hit. That's just, I hate that. There's probably, I'd say about once or twice a month, I'll come down through the drive at the golf course and I'll see deer hopping across the road right in front of me or whatever, not far from me. A lot of times you'll see them go right across the, right around the first tee or the driving range, right real close. So we got a few around, but yeah, it's probably the funniest story was we were shut down in the winter, and this we see this. It wasn't a very big deer, maybe a year old. You might think, it was not. It was still pretty small. Goes flying by the shop, tail up, and it's just kind of like boom, boom, like no big deal. Like it's not even really trying hard. And here's this, looks like probably black lab. I don't know, probably good sized dog, chasing after this deer. And it's just going all out trying to catch this deer. Well, this lady comes up, and she's got another dog on the leash, and she's dragging one leash that's broke, and then there are other dogs on a leash. And we point to direction, well, it went this direction, and so she starts walking that way. Next thing you know, we see this deer standing at the edge of the one green, right up by the clubhouse. which is in the opposite direction in which we sent that lady. It trots to the back of the green, kind of looks around, and then raises up its front legs, turns to the right, and gone. And you look over, and there's that dog standing where that deer just was, and it looks like its tongue is on the ground. It is so tired. It's chasing this deer and has no chance of catching it. The deer just left it in the dust. Well, the lady finally comes back, and the dog is so wiped out that it's just standing there, can barely move. And the lady walks up and ties it. And the other dog's kind of bumping it, like going, "You dummy, I told you don't chase them things." I mean, it was so fast. And it was like there was no give up in that deer. It was just like gone to see them try to chase that thing. Yeah, have you ever seen them go? I mean, it's amazing how fast they are. And they jump over. Look, we got fences. They walk over. I mean, they go over to them and bloop, over the fence like nothing. So, yeah, we have got a little bit of. We get every once in a while you'll have hawks coming in and stuff like that. We got every once in a while we'll get eagles because the eagles we're not far from the river, so every once in a while we'll get eagles or whatever flying over, trying to get rabbits and stuff on the course. You got foxes out there, so I mean it's kind of cool to see that out on the wildlife out there. When you see the hawks up close, they're kind of freaky looking because they're good size, these red-tailed hawks. Yeah, Larry says he hit a deer with his motorcycle. Lucky to be alive. You ain't kidding. You catch one of those. When I lived in San Antonio, my neighbor was riding his motorcycle, speaking of that, and a lady turned in front of him. That's the one thing. Like right now today, being 70, a lot of guys get out and they go, "Hey, let's go take that bike out." They're riding around, and the people don't pay attention. They don't pay attention at all. They don't look for motorcycles, and that's a sad thing. I used to ride all the time. I loved to ride. You remember, Larry, you remember our roommate Tom, he had his motorcycle. And people just don't look for you. You almost got killed, Heck, I was up there, I remember, at, with Lee Trevino and, what was the name of the street? I can't, Loma Vista or something like that, right where we lived, the apartments. And a guy almost ran me over right on the corner there when I was on Tom's bike. Guy turned in front of me and almost ran me completely over. And, it was, it's just sad because people don't pay attention at all. They think they ought to put a kind of a strobe light on a bike or something just so it catches people's eye. It's something to wake them up. They showed a thing locally here on the news. They're doing a kind of a presser on it. This is a story that's coming up, and they were talking about people, school zones and everything like that. I was driving, this is like 2 days ago, and I'm driving down the street, and I'm coming up, and the school zone is 25. Beth, welcome to the show. And a guy, they're going through the school zone. They got to be doing 45, 50 miles an hour in a 25. I'm like, people just ignore it. It's not worth my time, whatever. And they just like, whatever. I was talking to one of the local PD officers here. They got these speed cameras, and you got red light cameras. I think you need to do is put your speed cameras, put them in the school zones. Because I'll tell you what, you got speed cameras on certain places. Most everybody that lives here knows where those are, and they get past them, and then they speed up. Put them in the school zone, you guarantee they're going to slow down for the school zones. And that is for safety purposes. They got a thing here where they're going to do a story on the buses running red lights. And I'm like, wow, God, you just don't think of the bus running red lights. But hey, I'm more worried about that bus driver and the people driving around that bus driver because my kid rides the bus every morning. I think she does a good job, so she's the same bus driver they had all year. They got a different one, in the afternoon than they do in the morning, but Yeah, I don't, I would not have thought the buses running red lights, but hey, I'm sure it happens. So I know a lot of times where people they see that flashing lights and they don't want to stop for it, and they blow past it even when what kills me. You see people drive on the right side of the bus, they pass it. Yeah, people can be jackalopes. Beth says, I've been honked at while driving 25 in a school zone in the morning. Yeah, I hate that. I'll be driving and I'll slow down. I'll go to 25 and they fly by you and they flip you off. I'm like, okay. I said, that's the one thing I do miss as a police officer, writing tickets for the people that do stupid things like that. Jeff, welcome to the show. And I mean, you get, you slow down for the speed limit because, the one thing about it, you can't take back that killing somebody in an accident like that. Every day in my car, I see people texting. And there was a story out. This was last week. I didn't get a chance to talk about it. I planned on it, but a girl was texting on her phone, was in an accident. She luckily survived. Not even a year later, she was texting on her phone again and was killed in an accident while texting. You survived an accident. It teaches you, hey, duh, I shouldn't be texting while I'm driving. And people think, I can text. It's not going to happen to me. Well, I'm sorry, but it happens to everybody. I purposely won't text. That's what I do is, I got one of those where it'll be on my phone, or on my watch. I have one of those. If somebody texts me, I can glance at my wrist and just go, okay, I got a text. But I'm not going to sit there and take the time to text back at them. And a lot of people don't realize it's a violation to text while driving. Here in Iowa it is. But to text while you're at a stoplight. People will sit there and be texting and they're not paying attention. The light changes green and they sit there and they're texting and texting. And then you get the guy honks and then the guy goes, kiss my, because they honked at him. Well, then you start the road rage incidents and, you get people that act like idiots. I don't think you'll ever cure people being total idiots. That'll never stop. But they need to do is the phone companies. I was going to talk about phones tonight. I want to talk about phones and talk about the new next iPhone supposed to have a facial recognition software instead of a little button for your fingerprint ID. Great. Why don't you make a battery that lasts longer than doesn't shut off at 40%? I have a iPhone 6. I don't have the iPhone 7. I've had it for a year and 3 or 4 months. The battery shuts off at 40% all the time. It drives me nuts. I'll be sitting there talking on the phone, and I'll go, let me see. Okay, I still got 44%. I go to take a photo or something, boom, thing shuts off. Well, my idea for the iPhone and the Android and all of them, you want to do is cut down on accents while they drive and stuff like that. You need to do is make the text function disabled while the phone is in motion. And not just talking about walking motion. I'm talking about when it gets over a certain miles an hour. They can do that. They can detect by GPS on your phone that it's in movement. And your phone's moving over a certain miles per hour, then it shouldn't be able to do is text. And people go, well, what about somebody if you're riding in the passenger seat? If you need to text that bad, really, you got a problem. There's a story out statistic out that more than half of the people text each other while they're at home in the same house. They send texts back and forth to each other rather than going and telling or getting. They'll send a text to them instead of going down the stairs or going in the other room to get them. I'm like, to think that you're gonna, okay, yeah, I don't want to go up there. Hell, I'll send them a text. What the hell are you doing? Come on here in this room or whatever. I'm like, really? We're that, we're that lazy that we won't go in the other room and get them. You have, people texting while driving in accidents. We had a young girl just graduated from school. I think it was last year or whatever. Graduated early, on her way to her first day of college, texting while she's driving around the road, didn't realize the road curved because she was too busy texting. Boom, head on, dead. It happens in just about every state, almost every city. Multiple texting accidents a year where people die. They need to do is make it to where the phones don't text while they're driving. They're doing it now with these new, I have the Chevy, I don't know, whatever it is, the My Chevrolet app or whatever, and it does like that. And it won't actually allow you to text while the vehicle's in motion. It has to be in park for you to send in or whatever. See, it'll tell you got to text, but it won't. You can't read the text while you're in motion. I'm surprised, they haven't pushed, companies haven't pushed for it, to get them to make that functioning disabled. I mean, I see it every day. I see people, I'll be sitting there driving down the road, and every day, I guarantee if you look, you'll see people texting. They'll be texting while they're driving down the road. It's amazing that there's not more accidents from that every day. People think it will never happen to me. And then when it does, they're like, oh, I can't believe it. Really? Wow. It's the same thing as somebody thinking, oh my God, I can't believe that, my house got broken into or whatever like it. I'm sorry, but you got to think about protecting your house, protecting everything, just like you do. You got to think ahead. What is going to happen in that? Jen, welcome to the show. It's this is the time of year when you start going, hey, well, let's get some clothes together, give them to Goodwill. And I think it's a great idea. That's an awesome idea to do. Give stuff to Goodwill. We do it. Well, apparently, a lady went to give clothing to Goodwill, and she didn't realize that her husband had been trying to surprise his wife and he's been storing money in a pocket of one of his shirts, his old shirts, and he was saving up money to surprise his wife. Well, she donated the shirt that had $8,000 in it. Well, he didn't realize till 2 days later that she had donated the shirt to Goodwill. And I guarantee you, with the amount of panic, they were able to do is, luckily, they went to Goodwill, and I mean, it's almost impossible to find that. Thinking about that, you go to Goodwill, and Goodwill, like if you donate to your town, whatever city that you live in, not necessarily is the stuff that you donated there going to be used there. A lot of times they do is they take it to a different location. Like here, they trade it with different cities. That way you're not getting the same stuff that people aren't getting the same stuff that, they move it around. I'm not saying they do it always, but, that's what I heard how they do some of the the different stuff. They move it around so it's not just dumped into the same location. So, but they were able to do is track it down, and luckily they were able to do is they tracked it down and were able to return the $8,000 to him. I mean, you can imagine that panic. I can't imagine putting $8,000 in a shirt, but that's nothing compared to this next story. $8,000, you think about it. But everything now is recycled. Recycled TVs, recycled computers, recycle your plastic bags, your paper, everything. Well, apparently a recycling worker found $100,000 in a 30-year-old TV. She said she came up running to the security cash box and she goes, "I found $10,000." So opened it up and saw 4 bundles of $50 bills. He goes, "I think that there's more." There was like 4 stacks of $50 bills. Said she knew it was large. The cash amounted up to more than $100,000. More than 75. This happened in Ontario, Canada. More than 75,000 in U.S. currency. Said they do anywhere from 10,000 to 30,000 televisions a month. So the odds that the TV cameras, they came there to video, the recycling, and the person found the money while the camera crews are right there. Imagine finding $100,000. I went to, when I was a police officer in Texas, we went to, it was a house where a person, he lived by himself. He was, it was a medical emergency or whatever. I don't know whatever happened, but they had no way of securing the house. While we were in the house, we looked over at the bookshelf and you could see money sticking out of the books. And we're like, oh, crap. What are you going to do now to get books? So we picked up a book and we took and fanned the pages. And there's like every 20 pages, there was like, a 5, a 10, a 20, whatever. Well, we started fanning through the books. We're trying to count it and collect it because, this is, if it's seen out there like that and we have no way of securing the door, and we actually see the money, we have to do is try to protect it and secure it for the fan. We quit at $6,000, and we hadn't even got through all the book. We had to have somebody come in and evidence tech go through all the books and find out all the money. And they had to do all the serial numbers, all the everything. Just amazing. People who would store, would hoard money because they don't trust banks. It's very common back because if anybody lived in when on the stock market crash way back, or if the older families, they didn't believe in banks, so they stored old change. And I actually had somebody come in and paid with Kennedy $50 and Eisenhower dollars one time coming into the golf course. I'm like, oh, I'll buy those. Yeah, I'm just like, you just don't see those. It says, you don't see, that type of currency in circulation anymore. You don't see, you see the, Sacagawea or the Susie B. Anthony's. You see those, the gold dollars there occasionally, but you don't see the Eisenhower dollars or the Kennedy half dollars. You don't see those out. Every once in a while, you'll get a currency out that's the, they call it silver certificates or whatever it is. It's backed by gold or whatever, and it's got a special emblem on it.